Well, I want to welcome you back to this second video that we're uploading this week. If you didn't get a chance to watch the first one, I would encourage you to go back and pick that one up also. This set of wheels is also an old set of wheels with steel tires that are loose and need to be tightened up. But what's going to show up on these wheels is there's two different ways that you can really assess the integrity of some old wheels. One is by sound. As you just watched, I can drop them on a solid concrete floor and hear whether they have a tight ring to them or whether they have a loose, rattly sound to them. And sometimes that's not just real clear. Sometimes you have to do a visual inspection. So I'm going to go through and do both on these, both the auditory, which you've already heard, and then let's look at some of the spaces and gaps that show up that are telltale signs that wheels are getting loose. One of the first places you'll notice when the tires are starting to loosen up is the joints where the two fellows come together. You'll start to see a space there. Now these wheels have been setting for quite some time and the tire bolts are all rusted and seized up into the tire. Some of them came out, but a lot of them just broke off. So one of the ways to get these out is to take a little heat and try to find somewhere where those heads are. Heat up that little head, being careful not to burn the wheel, and that'll oftentimes break loose that rust and allow him to drive them out. Well, this second front wheel is really loose. You can see all the space between the felloes and the tire, and there's big gaps between the fellow joints. This one is going to be a little different. Well, these wheels have had kind of a paint job restoration. The fellows, the wood in these are really dry, so I'm going to put some of this TWP on there before I set the tires. It just really soaks it up. Well, just like the wheels in the other video, I wedged these tenons to tighten the fellows down on the spokes, but there's still a lot of gap between the joints. So if I just set the tire and don't make an allowance for these joints, I'm going to end up with way too much dish. So I'm going to put a piece of leather in, kind of judge which thickness I need, and take up that space. The soft leather will help conform to the rough edges of these fellow joints, and the pressure of the tire when it is set will keep this leather shim in place. So now I want to take the Traveler and I'm going to measure the outside circumference of the wheel. I don't have to allow for any spaces because I've taken that up with the leather shim. Normally a wheel like this, if it was good and solid, I would put 1/4 of an inch smaller on the tire ID than I would on the wood OD. But this is a little weak and a little soft in the fellows, so I'm going to only use an 1/8 inch. Kind of back off the pressure a little bit, see if we can't get a little more life out of these wheels. Once again, thanks for watching.